This video we're going to take a look at finding points in a survey with the tools that Traverse PC provides. One of the first things I'd like to show you is in the Point Manager. Let's open our Point Manager here, and we have it pinned to the desktop so it stays open for us. Notice that when it first opens, points are sorted by their label. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have alphanumeric points in here, so as we come down and we see a alpha in here, let's just look. Okay, here's 1821. 1821R shows up right next to it because of its point number. As we move on down, we can see that Traverse PC continues to sort by point numbers. Once we're done sorting points that start with a number, then Traverse PC starts adding the alpha points. So if a point has just characters in it and no numbers, you'll see those at the end down here. So it's really easy for me to identify and find a point based on its point number. Now I want to show you another way that Traverse PC helps you find points. Let's click on the description column. Traverse PC just sorted points by their description in ascending order. Let's click it again, and now we see the points sorted in descending order. Okay? If we click it again, it turns off the sort by description and goes back to sort by labels, which is the default. We can do something very similar with longitude, for instance. I can sort by the longitude of the points in ascending order, sort by longitude in descending order, click again, and I would have points sorted back on their labels again. So some great ways inside of Traverse PC to find those points. There's also a find command. So anytime I can click on the binoculars on the toolbar up here, and I can say, what do I want to find? I want to find to see if there's a 1281 point in here. Okay. I'm going to look in the point label, find next, there's no match. Okay. Let's look for a 207 instead. So if I kind of think I know what the point label is, Traverse PC will go ahead and find that for me and highlight it for me. I can then find the next. Okay. And that's great when I'm trying to find the points in different traverses. I don't use it too much in the point view. Let's switch over to a description. I want to find an L tree point. No match. Let's take the space out and see if we can find. Okay, so here's our first L tree point down here at the bottom. It's highlighted. It's 1811. Let's find the next one. Find the next one. Find the next one. So we're now at 4 points. Trees and no more. So real quickly, without sorting, I can find that I have 4 line tree points. So you can use the find options like that in just about any of the views where it lists points. Let's go over to the drawing now and take a look at how we find points within a drawing itself. Probably one of the most useful tools that I like using, again, is the binoculars. And I put in the point number that I want to look for, and in this case I want to look for the north 16th on the east line. So I know I've got a record point in here of 600 460. Let's search on that point, and then there's a zoom option that just lets me zoom in to a tighter view of that point. So let's choose the OK. Traverse PC zooms me in to the area where 600 460 is. Now in a typical CAD program you're going to have to move and resize these point labels and symbols and lines because everything got zoomed in to the drawing. Traverse PC gives you a great little option. It's found right here in this button that says Zoom Points. Watch what happens when I click this button. See how I create separation and all the labels and symbols and line widths are now back to the values I specified in the Traverse settings. If I click it again, they're zoomed in like they would be if I plotted or printed this, and how they would appear in CAD. I love this toggle because it allows me to zoom in tighter, and I can create separation automatically without having to move any labels. I'm probably going to go into this Traverse, double click anything that's drawn, a line or a label or whatever, and go into the side shots here and just tell it, I really can't see that blue very well. So let's do something like a dark cayenne, for instance. And in the side shots, I'm going to angle all of the side shot labels at minus 45 degrees. I'm going to do the same thing for control points, but these are going to be positive 45. And these are math angles. So horizontal is to the right. So when Traverse PC redraws this now, anything that's a side shot shows up angled down and to the right. Anything that's a control point shows angled up and to the right. So between the colors, the zoom points, and angling some text here, I start to create some separation so I can really see what's going on inside of here. I'm going to show you another very, very important tool. I'm going to go to View, and right under the Zoom is Window Extents. This works just like a zoom window. Let's go ahead and start this command. The prompts at the bottom tell me to left click a starting corner and then left click a diagonal corner. When I do that, Traverse PC says this is now my new drawing extents, and it scales the drawing within that. Well, that affects the size of the labels that are produced here. And I'm just going to use the mouse wheel now to scroll in and zoom in a little tighter here. And I can say, this isn't quite getting me enough separation yet. Let's go back and do another window extents. I can repeat this wherever and often I need to, so I kind of get the separation that I'm interested here within the drawing. Now that I've got the separation, I might want to go back and turn on the zoom points. And I can see that as I zoom in, my point labels get bigger, makes it easier to read, but I've got enough separation because of the window extents that I don't have to turn the zoom points off. Now notice that I've got a couple of point labels right over the top of each other. Here's a group of them right here. So I'm going to drag one of those off to the side, and I see that both 210 and 189 are pretty much in the same place. Let's do the same for 290 and just drag that label up out of the way here. And we see that I have both a 290 and a 291 pretty much in the same place here. Now what happens if I try to drag one of these symbols like I just dragged a point label? Let's take the symbol for 234. When I put the cursor over that symbol, Traverse PC provides a tooltip, tells me which point symbol I'm over, and I'm just going to try and drag and drop that now. See what happens when I do that? Oops, I can pick up the drawing. I'm going to try and move that symbol. I can't. I can move the labels around, that's not a problem, but I can't change the symbol because it's tied to a survey point. So if I try to drag something that's tied to a survey, I can't, because it's controlled by the coordinate or geodetic positions that are defining that point. I also use the tooltips to give me information about the points and the lines in here. Let's put the cursor over this line and look at the tooltip that pops up. So this is a tangent line from 189 to 191. Well, I can see that the line is ending at 189 right here where we're zoomed in. So I know the other end of the line ends at 191. I've got some information about the coordinates and the geodetic position of the endpoints of that line, about the points themselves, whether they're protected or adjusted, and the description on those points, plus just the basic information about the length and direction of that line. If I wanted to edit point 189, I could very easily put the cursor over the 189 point label, or any line that ends at 189, right click, and tell Traverse PC I want to edit Traverse. This is a great way for me to open up the Traverse that created that line or that symbol, and Traverse PC will put me right at that point in the Traverse, so I can quickly identify the information surrounding it. Notice that I've got a side shot here to 190 and additional accessories, all from 189. So I'm right in the Traverse right away, right where the data is. I want you to also notice that Traverse PC outlined point 189 with a sort of a greenish highlight. That's this Delineate Points option. So I told it to edit the Traverse or open the Traverse at 189, and Traverse PC also said I'm going to highlight that point for you back in the drawing to create that connection between the point that's being shown in the Traverse to the right and where the point exists in the drawing on the left. One of the great things about the ability to delineate points in the drawing is that it now moves with me as I select other points in the Traverse. So let's just page down a couple of times and get down to point 208. And maybe we have some reason to come in and look at this point. Say, I want to do a little more work with 208 here. Watch what happens when I highlight it. See how Traverse PC automatically centers point 208 in the drawing and showed me where it is. And I find I really can go back and forth with these two commands quite easily. Highlight any point, choose Edit Traverse. Traverse PC moves me to that point in the traverse. But I can just as easily then select a different point in the traverse and have the drawing update itself. So it's a way of sort of synchronizing the drawing and the data as I'm looking for points and just kind of playing around with this. You might find lots of reasons to use this tool or the search tools that are available in the different views. A lot of good ways for me to window the extents of the drawing and be able to see what I'm doing and sort of narrow my search area and find out what all I did there and what points I've got in the area. I'm just going to hit the zoom extents here real quick in the drawing so you can see we can get right back to the entire drawing easily. I've lost the window extents now that I did earlier. I could just simply reestablish those by reestablishing that window again later on.